My journey in life in horses has been tremendous. I started here at Collins Farm as a small baby. My parents brought me up. I've run the yard all the way through. My mother's been dedicated, my father's been dedicated. We've gone from showing, pony club, had point-to-pointers and eventers. So a massive all-round grounding, and I feel very lucky to have been that person that's had the grounding here. Every discipline that I've done throughout my life, I've thoroughly enjoyed every journey that I've taken. There's not been one thing that I've actually not enjoyed. Once upon a time, actually one of the professionals said to me, and I had a lovely Arab that I rode, and he said to me, "Why are you riding that?" I said, "Because it's a lovely animal." I'm very lucky to have produced for Her Majesty the Queen and now producing for HM the King. It happened over a phone call after I'd won a Horse of the Year show on a show hunter. I had a phone call to say, would you produce for Her Majesty? And it went from there. The first horse I looked at, I actually turned down because we talked about horses, the right journey. It wasn't the right horse for the show ring. And then I was asked to go back at a later date, and then eventually the journey started with the late Queen, and then I was there 20 years later, the most amazing lady to work for. I'm very lucky now that it's rolled on to the King, and I still have 7 horses in the yard, and I work very closely with them still. I'm very hot on conformation, I'm very hot on training, I'm very hot on how I feed my horses, what vitamins I give my horses. The reason being is if you make a horse happy within, it works better as an individual. For me, every horse has to have good conformation, it has to have movement, and it has to have trainability in manners. Does that make sense? Because without a horse that has the brain to be trained, you are struggling. You could have the most beautiful horse and really want it to go to the top, but if it isn't trainable, it doesn't enjoy the job, you're never going to get it there. I don't drill my horses, I work with them like they're people. I understand and I work with the head, the understanding of an animal, and I like to think I go home at night, if I have an unhappy horse, I go home an unhappy person. So I like my horse to go to its stable at night or into its field and be the happy person that I want to go home as. The show circuit, there are many county shows, royal shows that I absolutely love. Which is my favourite show? My favourite show is Royal Windsor because of my connection to the late Her Majesty the Queen. I could not say that there's any better place for me to be than looking up there and having such fond memories throughout the times from ponies before I produced for Her Majesty to today, now producing for the King. My favourite day out apart from the horses and the yard is hard to say because I like to be here 7 days a week. So for me to go and have a day out, it's go to the yard, work the yard, and then there's not a lot of time left. I like to go to Badminton, I like to go to Burley, I like to go to Dublin, I like to do a few of those things, but if it doesn't come in the year's calendar, I can't do it. I would love to achieve in life training people, seeing people. I was lucky enough to be trained by a very good, what I call a very good trainer, Ruth McMullen, and I'd like to think that one day that I would be her, and mind you, my time is ticking. So but I'd like to think that I'm still that person that people look to, that phone up, which they do, and I love phone calls. The other day I had a phone call to say, can I find a horse for you to ride? Those things make me bubble, to still feel that you're still wanted out there. It's very important. My favourite horse in the world that has ever been is Barbershop. He is such an amazing individual. The Queen said one day when we took him to Windsor, she said, he is so regal, just look at him. He owns the world, but he's such a lovely person.